So I want us to consider briefly the life that Peter led before knowing Jesus. I'd say, although his life was not probably extraordinary, his life was safe and his life was stable. He was a fisherman, he was married, he worked with his brother, he had a couple of associates, also a couple of brothers. You know, he got to work on the lake every day. A lot of people here in Minnesota go fishing for fun. Maybe we could say, his life was not that bad. Again, I think we could say about Peter's life before knowing Jesus, his life was stable, his life was secure, his life was an okay life. And if we had to offer an image, we could say that Peter was surrounded by stable walls that made his life an okay life. So the question is, how did Jesus manage to get Peter to decide to abandon his stable life to follow him? Because his life was okay. And I think that the answer is failure was the way that Jesus managed for Peter to change his life. When you come to think about it, Peter had failed that day. He was a fisher and he caught nothing. He had spent all of the night trying his best, waking up early, probably going out to the lake when it was cold, and he got nothing. And probably on those days, people didn't have a lot of money and basically lived off of what they could fish on that day. So it was the failure that Peter experienced that started to open the possibility for Jesus to come into his life. So I offered you the image of walls. So when you come to think about it, failure is like those walls starting to crack. And when walls start to crack, some light can go through the walls. And what was in shadows inside of the walls can start to be full of light because light goes through the cracks. So why did Peter decide to follow Jesus? Because Peter had to go through failure before. And he saw that through failure there was something better for him outside of his life. And I think that this is a beautiful image for each one of us. Because every day, or maybe every week at least, I think we experience some sort of failure, some sort of frustration, some sort of sense that we're not improving or getting better. And I think that today's gospel can be a reminder that every time we fail, every time something goes wrong in our life, like that day Peter, he didn't fish, that it can be a chance for our walls of security start cracking and some light can go through into our shadows. So today I want to propose something. If there's a failure or frustration that you're struggling with, and maybe you're complaining or maybe you're feeling sorry about or sad, I think that today is a good chance to give thanks. To thank the Lord for where we're failing. To thank the Lord for where we're not hitting the mark. Why? Because today's gospel reminds us that failing may be always a chance for Jesus to come into our life and change us and invite us to do something bigger.